Good evening. I'd like to call to order the Village Board meeting for Monday, November 17th, 2025. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Here.
Here.
Here. Here. Here.
Trustee Johnson, could you please lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Moving on to approval of the agenda. Any additions, corrections, or deletions to tonight's agenda as drafted? I would like to, actually, Trustee Eska, do you want to table item E under new business?
It's just being pulled,
Yeah.
it's not tabled.
So we just pull it and not table it? Okay, so I would recommend that we amend the agenda by pulling item E under new business, the authorization to purchase garage door openers with battery backups that will come back at a later time. I would make a motion to approve the amended agenda.
So moved.
Motion.
Second.
Second by trustee Alapajanis. Any additional discussion or comment? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Moving on to village president's report, I have none. Moving on to reports and questions from trustees and working groups, starting with trustee Enderle.
I have none.
Trustee Alapajanis.
I have nothing.
Trustee Johnson.
Nothing. The agenda.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Huska.
I have nothing.
Trustee Price.
It's the agenda.
Trustee Wilbrandt. Okay, thank you. Joe, anything from the team?
Yes, trustee Lapajanis contacted the staff over the weekend regarding ongoing construction at Sleepy Hollow Road. Unfortunately, the contractor was in a bit of a hurry this weekend. There were a few snafus with late night work on Friday as well as Saturday morning. They put down the tack coat and closed down the road without advance notification, but it was to keep the vehicles off the tack coat because we would have ended up with a lot of complaints about the tar material on the vehicles. So, but they were on a really aggressive push to take advantage of the warm weather over the weekend and get the project near completion. It is basically near completion, so that in itself was a good thing, so.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to questions from the audience, this is an opportunity for those in attendance to address the board on items that are both on the agenda and not on the agenda. We don't have any pre-filled forms, so I'll just do an open call. Is there anyone who wishes to address the board? Okay, we'll move on. Consent agenda items A through C. I do, as a matter of course, going forward, need to read each item. So with that having been said, before I go ahead and read them, is there any item that any board member wishes to remove from the consent agenda? Okay, hearing none. The consent agenda items are as follows. Item A, ratification of checks, they're totaling $112,991.18. Item B, approval of bill list, $848,443.12. Item C, approval of minutes, regular board meeting for October 20th, 2025. I would entertain a motion to approve all of the items on tonight's consent agenda.
So moved.
Motion.
Second.
Second by trustee Alapajanis. Any additional discussion or comment? Hearing none, Madam Clerk.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Aye.
All ayes, motion carries. Moving on to resolutions and ordinances. Item A, ordinance amending municipal code Title 7, Chapter 3 to restrict truck traffic on Sleepy Hollow Road between Huntley Road and Route 72 West Main Street. Trustee Huska.
This has been brought up more as a safety issue because of semis trying to maneuver that are going westbound on Huntley for the most part and trying to make a turn going southbound onto Sleepy Hollow. There's not enough room due to the dedicated left turn lane that's there. And I mean, there have been witness of accidents occurring that trucks have clipped cars and things like that. And also with the new north of Huntley is, I believe, restricted, and south definitely is south of 72 is definitely restricted, so it would just follow along to limit to only necessary truck traffic on Sleepy Hollow Road, and also preserve the new pavement that's going down and not tear it up immediately. My only question to that, and I don't disagree with the logic of it, but we have no restriction that I'm aware of on Tartans. Is that going to push truck traffic onto Tartans? And my concern there is because of the park and the layout of the road, it would be somewhat dangerous if everything is pushed to the next road.
Yeah.
Immediately comes to mind, largely materials, these are really collector streets that largely would not have a truck-based navigation service routing somebody through. It doesn't mean it wouldn't happen necessarily.
Because I know when Lennars first started, there was truck traffic, because apparently, using GPS was telling them to go that way to get to Huntley Road, so
Which was one of the interventions, actually. Thomas thankfully went on to Google Maps and attempted to feed it to restrict truck traffic. And it was also happened down at Canterfield Harper campus, and Canterfield Park East, when people were going west into the villages at Canterfield. I don't know if there's any perfect solution software-wise to I would imagine a lot of logistics companies are using basic search functions and traditional Apple software like Google or
well, I would be in favor of approving. I mean, it makes sense on Sleepy Hollow, but then I think we need to monitor the effect of that onto Tartans.
certainly advisable.
From the staff perspective, I see no reason why, if the board is inclined to adopt a no semi provision on Sleepy Hollow Road, that a no semi provision on Tartans is appropriate, and we're happy to redo the ordinance and bring it forward with both roadways.
Okay, any other comments or questions?
Well, so
Yeah, we can just, if the board's inclined to do both of them, we'll just redo this ordinance and put both of them together. It's just cleaner to do both of them at the same time than two separate ordinances. So we can just bring this back for December 1st with both Sleepy Hollow and Tartans between Huntley and Route 72 is no semi-traffic.
Do we need to table this then?
Yes.
Okay, I would entertain motion to table.
so moved.
Motion.
Second.
A second by trustee Johnson. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, Madam Clerk.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
All ayes, motion carries. Moving on to item B, 743 South 8th Street, Suite 206 in Century Plaza. Ordinance issuing a special use permit to allow a standalone massage therapy clinic. Trustee Price.
Yeah, this has been through planning and zoning. Their initial meeting, they had a few questions on some of the details of what they planned and just kind of space requirements and such, and access, I think, for ADA and some other things. So, but they came back, answered all the questions, and was recommended for approval unanimously. So, pretty straightforward.
Comments or questions? Trustee Price, you have the floor.
All right, move to approve an ordinance issuing a special use permit, allow massage therapy with Sylvia's Massage Therapy located at 743 South 8th, Suite 206.
Motion.
Second.
Second by trustee Yaska. Any additional discussion or comment?
Does this really fit in our corporate? I understand that Spa Blue does massages, but they do a bunch of other stuff. I'm just worried about a massage parlor.
Well, they have, I mean, there's a bunch of licensing and stuff they have to go through, so, yeah.
I don't know if I want to call it a massage parlor.
Practitioners in town.
Yeah.
In other locations, it requires this thorough vetting. Okay. Including WDP and to avoid the term parlor in particular.
Yeah.
They're massage therapists, and many of them, like I said, are sole practitioners. Okay. Anything else, trustee Johnson?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay, believe we have a standing motion. Madam Clerk?
Aye.
Aye.
No.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Chief, to trustee Johnson's concern, is there a way, is there a practice for us to check on these?
Yeah, Kim Tibbetts and I spoke about this months ago, not this particular one, but just the topic in general.
Yeah.
And I personally, from what I've seen throughout the years, they have a good practice in place as
Okay.
far as making sure that the problems come from when there's an owner over here, a manager over here, but neither of them are in the establishment.
I see.
Unfortunately, the folks that aren't always licensed as they should be.
Sure.
So in this case, the sole proprietor standalone type situation is along the lines of what
Healthiest
I've
one.
seen.
Okay. So you don't think there'd be a need for like a surveillance system, something where we do an annual check or something?
Certainly, we would, develop a plan in conjunction with code and community development to make sure, if there were any complaints.
Yes.
But the way I saw this is in line with what Kim and I had spoken about.
Okay.
Months ago. It seemed like they were on the
Legitimate.
right track with that.
Okay.
She's also coming from Fox River Med Spa, which is a pretty big entity in Algonquin and with quite a diversity. And under Julie Bevel's training, I'm sure she's going to do this right because, I mean, they have a fantastic business over there.
Okay.
So
Wonderful.
I would, yeah.
No, but it's legitimate questions. And then Chief, I appreciate you addressing it. Thank you. All right, moving on to item C, 108-110 West Main Street, ordinance approving a redevelopment agreement by and between the Village of West Dundee and Sitewell, Inc. Trustee Price.
Yeah, previous meeting, we selected Sitewell for redevelopment of 108-110 West Main amongst, three competing proposals. Sitewell was selected, and now this is just the redevelopment agreement for them to proceed. There's, incentives in here. There is the property transfer. The property transfer occurs after they goes through ARC. They have proof of financing, and they have their building permits. And, if for whatever reason it all went south, there is provisions in the contract or the agreement for us to, get the property back if there's anything goes wrong. So,
Comments or questions from the board? Trustee Price, you have the floor.
let's see, move to approve an ordinance approving a redevelopment agreement by and between the Village of West Dundee and Sitewell, Inc.
Motion.
Second.
Second by trustee Yaska. Any additional discussion or comment? Hearing none, Madam Clerk?
Aye.
Aye.
No.
Aye. No.
No.
Aye. 4 ayes, 3 nays, motion carries. Moving on to item D, resolution to authorize a license agreement with Zayo LLC. Trustee Yaska.
This is nothing that really affects the village. We will not be using their services. They need to use our village to pass through to another community. So they are minimally invasive and basically just need to get under the river and up to.
Could you manage this? I have to recuse myself. This is a competitor. I
Yeah.
meant to do so.
Okay. And basically, they will do the boring and, not impact us too much, but
It's very different than MetroNet and what we've seen
Yeah.
in the neighborhood, so.
Yeah, my question, I get it, right away. I worked at AT&T for many years, so I get what they're trying to do and they need to do. But the residents aren't gonna get anything for this thing, right? It's just all pass through, right? But it's gonna disrupt traffic and all that other, traffic along the streets and neighbor, mostly I think it's along 72, right?
And they're gonna
Through,
cross at Oregon.
yeah,
Because the Bridges Foundation, come up First Street to 72, head west to 31, head south to Bonkoski, head west on Bonkoski until they leave our corporate limits.
yeah. Is there anything we can get for Village for the disruption of, for our
No,
residents?
We checked with,
ICC.
village attorney, we don't get like the telecommunications tax that we do from MetroNet, because they will not be charging our residents for any services.
Yeah.
We're hoping traffic disruptions are minimal. I don't think they wanna be out on Route 72 or Route 31 at all. I think they would stage off the main road, bring in the boring machine that we've seen for MetroNet, and just be on the sidewalk without disrupting any traffic.
You know, yeah, I just,
There's a lot of ICC regulations, and we can't just insist on a monetary contribution or a franchise fee for the pass-through.
We have learned with MetroNet, I mean, we will be on them for, if they do have to disrupt traffic, they are following IDOT standards for traffic control. And it's not just gonna be traffic cones whenever they feel like, so.
Yeah, and they're very limited in terms of their exposure to the municipal right-of-way. Their principal work is on the state right-of-ways.
Question I had was just I talked to you, Joe, about this, just, they're gonna need pits in order to change direction. And so one of those will be in our, brick sidewalk, I would imagine here, there's no way to make that turn without doing that. And so, just making sure that we're covered, and I see you've got the letter of credit in there, and just making sure that's enough if they dig the hole, do it, and just when they have to restore that hole, that they're doing it properly and making sure that we don't get settlement and all those kind of things.
So I spoke with their regional construction superintendent, who brought that up,
Yep,
and he says they will do everything possible to stay out of the brick paver sidewalk. And even out of the concrete sidewalk, cause it's not any easier for them. But because that potential exists, typically the bond amount is $10,000, we upped it to 100, because we had the paver restoration in the north parking lot, to use an example. Because we can't just pick an arbitrary number and we pick $1 million. So we're able to pick that number because we've used it recently. And the attorney agreed with that. They agreed to it. We tried for a cash bond. They said that there's no way, we just don't do that. So we went with the next best thing, which is a letter of credit.
okay, and they think they could, because my understanding is with the tunneling, they cannot change direction.
No, I don't think they can make a hard 90. They'll put a pole box somewhere, but again, they'll do everything possible to stay out of our brick paver, maybe somewhere behind the monument, change direction there, and then it's basically two more
There's
directions.
a straight line that they can
One
get.
at 31 and one at Bunkowski.
Okay. All right, and then just, potentially, I guess my other concern is the trees when they're going under those, and I don't know how deep we need to go, but if we, get some, a arborist or somebody to provide some direction for the tunneling to make sure that we're not.
Yep, we'll make sure they adhere to the standards for boring under those, and in the contract, they're not allowed to remove any vegetation.
Yeah,
So that's
okay.
in there, they can't take down any trees, bushes, things like that, so.
Okay, and then just the period of the letter of credit.
So they're warranting anything they do as far as pull boxes for 12 months, but then backfill is actually warranted for 5 years.
Okay,
And it's the same for MetroNet, has similar provisions, so, anything for the sidewalk, or if we have divots in the right of way, it's for 5 years.
okay, can we get them to cover trees too for the 5 years?
I'd have to look back to see exactly what the contract covers, but we can certainly ask for it.
Okay,
is this the north side or south side of Oregon?
So they're gonna come across kind of by 87 Oregon, Chris's house, and then unlike MetroNet, they're actually gonna cut across and go kind of under the VFW's parking spaces, because half of those tandem spots are in the village's right of way, and then come up to the sidewalk and then head up First Street.
So it shouldn't impact Chris's house at all?
No.
Okay.
They're gonna be about the same area where MetroNet was between our Riverwalk and the street, and then kind of go diagonally towards the VFW, just because the roads, especially with MetroNet, full. I think there's another fiber service that's in there, and then everything else that's in the ground.
gonna say, there's this guy that lives on the corner there, that
PTSD from
yeah.
Trust me, if anybody made sure we have all our bases covered, I made sure. We started this, I think, back in March, and it kind of fell off, and between our attorney and their attorney, communications kind of died down. Then they started getting serious about getting their permits, and we kind of ironed out all the details. I think the $100,000 letter of credit was a big wake-up call for them, because most municipalities, it's $10,000, $20,000, so.
One last question, are you comfortable with this proposal?
Yes.
Okay.
Any further discussion, comments? I can make the motion, right? I move to authorize the village manager to execute a master license agreement with Zayo Group LLC. I need a
Second.
second. We have a motion and a second.
Okay.
Trustee Esca.
Aye.
Trustee Johnson.
Aye.
Trustee Alphajanis.
Aye.
Trustee Andalay.
Aye.
Trustee Wilbur.
Aye.
Trustee Price.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, moving on to new business item A, fiscal year 25-26, second quarter financial report through October 31st, 2025. That is under me, Joe, but I will hand the floor over to you and the team.
Kathy?
Had a chance to look at financials in the memo. If you look at the front page of the memo, it tells you all about the cash balances that we have. It looks like there wasn't too much difference between last year and this year, but if you do drill down into them, there's the general fund and the water and sewer are seeing an increase because of, property taxes and also because of the increase. And then fund TIF, the TIF number 4, Fund G is also seeing some of the property taxes that are starting to be realized in that fund. Number 5 is a little bit light because of the demolition costs that are kind of moving through there that we've already paid for. When it comes to the Fund 1 general revenues, the majority of those property taxes have been collected. The development revenue is progressing as we see Lennar's developments continue to grow. The parking tax and the self-storage taxes, those are new this year, so down in finance, we're watching them and seeing where they show up, check them out. The grocery tax, we should see that's starting in March. That approval was sent off to the state, so they are aware of what the board's decided. When you look at the general fund expenses, under administration and finance, you can see that there was the $200,000 that was refunded from the special census, which was originally $370, I believe. And so it ended up only costing us $170,000. When you look at the Fund 2 revenues, you can see that those are starting to see the effects of the increase in the water rates that happened over the summer. The expenditures in Fund 2 will be affected significantly by the treatment charges. And forward, they just have not been giving me the invoices that I need. And that's really kind of up to them. Whenever I get them, then I will, and then we'll see that expense occur. I just think they're really busy over there. I did check out the true-up, though. The true-up is based on their audit, and you can see the 5 years back, and it looks like this year's true-up from their audit didn't increase too much. I'm still waiting to see them bill us for that true-up to let you know for sure, but at least there's an indicator that it doesn't look like it's crazy expensive. But you will see that probably next quarter, definitely, or maybe depending on how Joe decides to do with that. Everything else is pretty much just falling into place as we budgeted. Everything's pretty much expected.
Thank you. Comments or questions from the board?
Good job on pulling all this together. Actually, you hit a bunch of the questions that I had. So it looks like the development revenue is gonna have a surplus. And development revenue is gonna have looks like a surplus, and so is operating expenditures. And I think that's where the report is hitting, cause that's like minus 14,000, right? So year to date, so it hit like a $200,000 credit in there, is that under operating expenses? We got a $200,000 credit for
There
that.
was the rebate back from the
Yeah.
census?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
That will, right. So if you look at contractual services, that will be that's reflected in there.
yeah, so I just want, we should just have a discussion on like what we're gonna do with those extra funds. It looks like, again, it looks good from development revenue, looks like that's gonna have a surplus in the operating expense of the 200,000. If we haven't earmarked anything specifically for that or not, those are bluebirds, right?
What's a bluebird?
Something that's positive for the revenue side.
Well, the development revenue is broken down into specific line items. So any one-time development revenue, such as in the sewer and water fees, such as tap-on fees, or in general fund, which is,
Those are positive, right?
yeah, capital, well, industrial development or new construction, that is separated, that is, documented separately. And so that number is automatically earmarked and transferred to capital. So there's no money left at the end of the year that's usually sitting in the general fund that is transferred out. So any excess or bluebirds from development revenue moves from the general fund to the capital projects fund for future allocation. Now, there's additional fund balance that we have available, and operating revenues over expenses, which would be the 200,000 is a conversation we can have depending on where we land at the end of the fiscal year.
Okay. Yeah.
Where did the 2 million go that was for Kohl's that we didn't buy?
That's sitting in Fund H, the TIF fund. That would have came out of the bond issue. That would have been bond proceeds, so.
Kathy, the parking tax, is that for the truck stop?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So do you anticipate us hitting the full, now that it's fully operational and there's a lot of trucks out there, are we gonna hit the 150?
We'll see, because the numbers that you see in there, they opened and then we were kind of going back and forth, and they paid a big chunk. And then it was like $3,800, and it went to 4,000, and it's up to almost, I want to say last time it was $10,000. So I don't have a feel for it, but it's trending upwards.
It's gonna take us 6 to 9 months under those new revenue sources to really dial in what we think the numbers are going to be. We'll have a better idea at the close of the fiscal year where they are coming into next budget year.
Yeah, and the same with the self-storage tax, it was 100,000 in budget, we got 0 on it so far.
Yeah, that was first, August 1st, and the same thing, I had to go back to them and remind them. And we send all the information, but it doesn't always get done, so now we're on a pattern. I wanna say that was about $3,800 last month and the month before, and we've got good contact with U-Haul. So even in Q3, I should be able to have a better handle on where we're gonna end up.
Last, your favorite subject of water. I got two, thank you for following back up with all that, the emails about the water. I have two specific questions, and maybe I gotta ask Eric about those. So Joe, maybe you know, do we have the ability to change the flow from Fox Valley to East Dundee if we chose to?
Yes, but the rate is nearly identical. It's a 2-cent differential between the two.
Okay, that doesn't, okay, you gotta help me reconcile what Kathy sent in her memo, cause one of them shows like $2,800, the other one shows 15.
Well, there's different gallons amounts that are sent to each other. We only have the ability to send to East Dundee currently about 300,000, we treat almost 1 million gallons every day.
Okay. I'll show you where my numbers are coming from and.
Okay. Yeah, we do have the ability to regulate, but there is a capacity limitation on what we can send to East Dundee based on the size of their plant and our capacity limit.
Okay.
But the rate differential is negligible, 2 cents.
Are you talking about maybe you went from 1,500 up to 2,800, but that was the forwards rate over the last 5 years?
Yes.
Yeah.
But
What is
East
that?
Dundee's gone the same way because,
No, not as high.
yes, it is.
Theirs, though, it's always 2 cents less than forwards rate. It's the forward rate that's killing us. It is, during the last 5 years. So we're kind of doing some analysis of that and seeing what we can do.
I'll show you. Okay. That's it. Thank you,
Okay.
Kathy.
So the East Dundee's is tied to the forward rate?
It was,
And automatically 2 cents less?
when we originally did the capacity, it was tied to an East Dundee rate, which was significantly higher. And we just said, well, if that's gonna be the case, we're gonna send all of our flow down to forward. East Dundee realized this, and then we entered into a side agreement with them to facilitate a mirror image of the whatever the forward rate is, but 2 cents less than the forward rate.
How does the true up enter into that, though? Is the true up like on a per gallon?
The true up is related to the audit,
Right.
and then based on what they do is look back at what the actual expenses were for operating the plant in 2024, and then they adjust the rate accordingly for that year.
Okay, and it always goes up, right? It never goes down. So,
It's just how significant is it going up? And
Yeah.
in their audit, they gave the last 5 years, so we've seen it just trend upward.
so I guess my question is to your point, Mark, is does the true up actually make forwards rate higher than that 2 cent
Yeah,
differential?
see, that's what I'm confused with. Yeah, I'm just showing Joe the note that Kathy sent, and I'm happy to pass that. I'll share that with you.
There's numbers that are, there's a minimum on East Dundee that is significantly lower, but it's like, it's a very small portion of the flow. But the vast majority of it is tied to the 258 rate or the 270 rate.
Joe, maybe you can
East
get us-
Dundee has also not been very good at billing us on a timing basis. So they went back in 2023 and hadn't adjusted their bill and then sent us an invoice for increased treatment charges because they were remiss in billing us at a lower rate.
Part of the problem too is Ford's audit, it's not done until November, and their year end is 4/30. And so that's when we get it. Here we are, November 17th, and I still don't have invoices. I don't think they have a very large accounting staff either. And so we get a big surprise if their audit comes out at a really high rate that we are being charged for. But their audit just came out, so I took a look at it, and I don't think we should be shocked at the true up. It was during that period of time, Mark, when I went from 1.5 to like 2.2 or 2.4, that was shocking.
The billing for usage is nearly identical between the two. So financially, there's no real differential between the cost of sending a gallon to East Dundee versus the cost of sending a gallon to Forward.
Even with the true up?
Well, the true up is a true up. Forward does their true up, and then East Dundee backs
So the
backs
East
up on
Dundee's
that
reflects whatever happens as part of the true up. I see.
because it's
Okay,
tied
got it.
to that rate.
Okay, all right, then,
Joe, is it talking out of school to say that East Dundee is considering its options relative to its wastewater treatment operations?
Yes, yeah, they're finding it difficult to manage and operate the plant as it is currently existed and its capacity. There has been some conversations about maybe merging that with Forward.
Okay, any other comments or questions for Kathy?
I see a motion.
Yes, please.
Please.
I move to approve the second quarter financial report through October 31st, 2025 as presented.
second.
Motion and a second by trustee Price. Any additional discussion or comment? Hearing none, Madam Clerk?
Aye.
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 Trustee Mowbray?
Aye.
Trustee Frank?
Aye.
All ayes, motion carries. Thank you. Let's move on to the tax levy discussion. Joe, I'm going to hand the floor over to you.
Sure. You have this year's proposed tax levy for this year. There are 4 options that are being presented to the board for consideration. You also, based on last year's conversation, the board requested some preliminary information and data regarding the budget. So we've provided that information as well as some of the increased cost related to the staffing increases that have been discussed over the last 6 or 8 months. With that, you have 2 options that are basically minimal obligations related to police and fire, pension only. There is a recommendation from the finance department to change the actuarial numbers or analysis that goes into the proposals or the actuarial evaluations for police and fire. Those go from the PUC option, which we've adopted, to EAN. The number increase for purposes of this tax levy is only about a $15,000 increase, but it does have some significant benefits in terms of the long-term funding for both the police and fire pensions. Option 3 is related to just a minimal or just below the 5%, which is a 4.8 increase, which provides an increase of $334,000. I should preface the original the presentation that once again we have a very good year development-wise. We are seeing a 9% increase, expected 9% increase in the overall assessed valuation of the community. That provides us some very good opportunities and alternatives in terms of increasing the levy in order to ensure that all new construction is captured through the rate increase or the levy increase, excuse me. So option 3 is $334,000 of increase. Option 4 is a 9% increase, which provides an increase of new revenues to the organization of $621,000. Options 1, 2, and 3 would result in a decrease in the existing tax rate. Option 4 would probably, in all likelihood, maintain the tax rate at its current level of $1.87. So with the board's direction, we did provide you some budget parameters, basically looking at 3% revenue increases and 4% expenditure increases to give you a working format for the upcoming budget, and then 4 scenarios under the revenue side, with 3 scenarios related to the personnel increase. Scenario 1 on the personnel increase is tied to the finance director or finance staffing recommendations that were discussed in July. Scenario 3 is the addition of 1 full-time firefighter plus the finance staffing increases pursuant to the SAFER grant that was presented and discussed back in, March, April. We had targeted applying for the SAFER grant, which we did not receive, but increasing our firefighter staffing by 3. The conceptual proposal would be to add a new firefighter this year, this new fiscal year, the following fiscal year, and the fiscal year after that. 3 consecutive fiscal years by adding 1 new firefighter to get you to that 3 staffing level that was recommended as part of the SAFER grant to get us to 12 full-time individuals. Option 4 is the finance staffing increases, the firefighter, and additional patrol officer that was discussed or suggested by Trustee Johnson as it related to the SRO position.
Joe, when does the decision need to be made? When do you need the direction from the board?
We need direction from the board on anything that it is above 5% this evening in order to publish the black box and to proceed with the public hearing. The final adoption of the ordinance itself is by the December 15th village board meeting. So you have three meetings to digest and discuss.
But we need to tell you tonight if it's gonna be over 5.
Correct. And just remember, anything above 5 requires the black box. If you publish for option 4, which is the 9%, you can always adjust downwards from the 9%. But if you don't publish for anything above 5%, you can't do anything. You cannot levy anything above 5%.
So in other words, we could choose the 9% option today, and then as we talk through the next 2 meetings, we could back off of that.
Correct.
Actually, that 9% would hold the rate, the current rate.
Yep.
So it's not an increase, it's holding the current rate. But it also allows us to proceed with employment opportunities down the road that have been recommended and suggested.
Yeah, staffing increases that have been discussed at this board level for a number of board meetings and on an ongoing basis, so. And the one thing I would point out is I included in in this packet is the Elgin conversation about 13% increase. Algonquin is considering a similar type of increase. Carpentersville just presented their budget. Carpentersville is proposing substantial increases in both their property tax levy and their water and sewer water and sewer rates and their garbage rates over the next 5 or 6 consecutive years. They are looking at it and they are adopting required rate increases for water and sewer for the next 5 years. And then after that, they are recommending or adopting a 5% annual increase in their water and sewer rates. Their garbage refuse fee is going up dramatically. So I am very confident, based on what I've seen, that even under option 4 scenario for the village board for West Dundee, if nothing else changes, that we would move down to the lowest of the municipal comparisons that we have.
So tonight, if we're not officially voting on the guidance, we are giving you potential just allowance to make that posting up to 9%, and we can back off from there. Is that accurate?
Correct.
And I would be in favor of that because it gives us the most flexibility.
Let's do a quick straw poll. Trustee Wilbrant.
Same
No, I know.
conversation
I
as
got you.
last year.
Okay.
Let's make it high, and then we'll come down, and we don't come down.
Okay, fair enough. Trustee Price.
I would agree with Trustee Eska that, just gives us the most flexibility, so.
Okay. Trustee Johnson, are you okay with the publication?
No, I was more towards option 2 to fund the pension for the police and fire in the range of, I think that's the accounting methodology that Kathy, so it was 1.9%. So that's where my head was.
Okay. Trustee Alapajanis.
I think it's wise to stay at that and then discuss and go down because there were some questions I had too. I don't think we want to lock ourselves into, like Joe says, posting a lower rate and then not being able to go up if need be.
Trustee Enderly.
I'm a no.
Okay. Joe, publish.
Yep, thank you.
Moving on to item C, special event for Dickens activities at Graffelman Park. Trustee Wilbrant.
All right. We would like to do the same thing we did last year for the Saturday of Dickens. There's, to my understanding, the same Friday night activities. Saturday last year, we did our inaugural cookie decorating in Graffelman Park. that coincided with the Lions tree celebration. We had Santa was there from 1 to 3 and was in the gazebo. The Bethlehem Lutheran Church across the street is doing their bake sale, soup and sandwich at the same time. And this ask this year is the exact same as we did last year with the tent from Ed's, heaters in case it's bitterly cold, cookies, 300 sugar cookies, icing, sprinkles, the works. It was very well attended last year. I think we had decent weather. It wasn't too cold. It wasn't beautiful. Yeah. And we had a generous visit from Santa that did a great job. So, and police and fire and public works helped out, and it was absolutely fantastic. So, what's in your packet tonight is an ask of $2,200, and it's broken down by the line items there as you see in the budget.
Comments or questions for trustee Bobrant?
I have a couple questions. So it says if the weather is not favorable and conditions are muddy, activities will be held on Washington Street. What happens to the tent? Isn't that supposed to be the protection?
Yes, and I can't predict the weather.
Right,
but
nobody can, none of us can.
The event kind of is not just the tent. That would be like worst case scenario, torrential downpours, mud everywhere. Even if it was snowing or a light rain, I think we still go with the tent in the park because the tent is dry and warm. Santa's in the gazebo. The only thing impacted would be impacted anyway, which are the trees that we're not moving to a tent. So I would say it would be a real doomsday scenario if it had to be in the street, correct?
The biggest concern is mud.
Yeah.
If we had wet weather leading up to the event and Grappleman is just super muddy.
Super muddy.
We don't want 200-300 kids trudging through the mud.
So if we have a lot of rain, and again, they predict 10 inches and we have beautiful sunny skies. I don't even think the weathermen know how to predict the weather anymore. So, I mean, we're always, it's the same thing over and over again with that. But in the case where, I mean, this does happen, that tent's up on Friday. I mean, how soon do we give Ed's notice that, hey, guys, it's been raining?
I think they just need a day's notice.
Okay, good.
And then with the setup, really, we set it up a certain way, one driveway would be affected.
Okay.
I don't know Maureen's address, but she's verbally okay that her driveway would be blocked for that
Okay.
time.
Okay. And then the other question I had, I don't know if this was just a typo, but when we look at this says for the supplies, the cookies and the decoration is 200, but here you're saying it's 180 in this little memo area. Or 120. I was just wondering what I'm looking at a budget.
I think it was 200, it was whatever was in the spreadsheet, wasn't it?
In the fiscal impact, it says 120 on cookie decorating supplies, so I
Gotcha.
think the budget amount is.
Okay, that's what we're,
Yeah.
okay, all right.
Let's go with what we did last year, what we did this year, what we have left. It's kind of hard to determine.
No, when I saw that, I was just trying to understand it. And I guess my third question is, I mean, I wasn't there, so I mean, and obviously the kids have fun in it, but had we ever thought of possibly doing this at PS2? I mean, where we don't have to spend $1,700 on a tent?
It's definitely a thought. Last year, we tried to coincide it with the Lions and their tree sales. That was the big thing. And I believe in the past, there used to be activities at Grappleman Park. There'd be craft activities, things
Right.
like that.
Petting zoo.
Right.
I mean,
But
it was.
it's all downgraded
They
so
used to
much in
do
that.
gingerbread houses in the church too.
Right.
A piece
Yeah.
of cake would make them for us. And trust me, last year, we spent a lot of time trying to find gingerbread houses pre-made, and it just didn't work.
And a reindeer. I still haven't gotten my reindeer,
Yeah.
still trying.
East Dundee steals it, gets the Santa's Village reindeer.
They get first dibs on the Azoosmint reindeer.
Definitely a thought for next year. We just tried to bring back to kind of rebolster the Dickens activities.
And is there going to be any advertising on this? I mean, are we going to have any signage? Is there going to be anything like on the boards? Because,
For sure, we wanted to wait for it to get approved. Before. we
and what
start.
about social media? Who's doing social media for this?
I believe Kim might be spearheading some of the Dickens social media.
Is that part of Dickens, or is this a separate event through the events committee?
Typically, typically Dickens is usually handled through Village Hall. The Saturday event has been kind of now taken over by the event committee. But Friday event, Living Windows, has really been through the village. So the open house and Living Windows, Friday night activities and the tree lighting are handled through the village. This Saturday activity is the events committee.
Okay, because, I mean, in all honesty, I never saw anything on Facebook. The only thing I saw once or maybe twice was some gal walking around in that. Not a lot of promotion in that, and we were paying for that.
In regards to,
Well, like even the markets and stuff like that. A lot of it has to do with algorithms, of course, if people aren't up on our website and that. Well, granted, and I'm sure you did, but in people that I've spoken to and that, a lot of people are still aren't even aware that this is going on. I mean, there are some, but I just wanted to make sure that I understood this, but I think it's a great idea for the kids. I mean, it's a lot of cookies. How many cookies did you guys go through last
Over
year?
200 last year.
Wow.
We ran out of hot chocolate, which we almost went lights and sirens to get more hot chocolate because we ran out, so.
Yeah. No, that's great. I mean, it's awesome for the kids and that, and I think it's a fun thing to do.
In the parade,
The electric parade?
well, electric parade is Saturday night.
Saturday night,
Yeah.
yeah. That's kind of cool.
It is, yeah, cool, yeah.
Especially when the Coca-Cola truck comes through.
I would say the fire truck is pretty
Yeah, I
nice
would say the
too, so,
fire truck
yeah.
is better.
Oh, Santa, yeah, of course.
But yes,
That's all I
there's
had.
a lot of good ones, yeah. And then just, to your comment about PS2, which, definitely, I guess weather's really bad. The thing is just like all the other activities are kind of in the downtown, so it seems like it makes sense to kind of.
Well, that's true, but we
Yeah.
need to start making sure we're bringing that side more into downtown, or maybe some more over on that side so more people can appreciate it too.
well, we bought them all, so we're working on it.
Yeah.
More to come.
Trustee Wilbrandt, you have the floor.
With that, I'd move to approve a special event application and expenditures for the Dickens and Dundee activities at Graffelman Park, Saturday, December 6th, 2025.
Motion.
Second.
Second by trustee Anderly. Any additional discussion or comment? Hearing none, Madam Clerk.
Trustee Wilbur?
Aye.
Trustee Price?
Aye.
Trustee Estep?
Aye.
Trustee Johnson?
Aye.
Trustee Papagenis?
Aye.
Trustee Andrew?
Aye.
All ayes, motion carries. Moving on to item D, sponsorship request for Fezziwig's Ball at the VFW. Trustee Wilbrandt.
All right, with our retro throwback, this is another event adding to Dickens that was done for a decent period of time. And I believe it ended via COVID when we stopped it. Cheryl, you would probably know.
No, it was before COVID.
Before COVID, okay. But we want to bring it back. We want to increase the activities and things associated with Dickens, thus the Saturday afternoon and Friday night. Rather than having an all-out West Dundee event and doing all the bells and whistles for that, VFW is going to host the Fezziwig Ball, and the village would be making a contribution for $750 to pay a band to be there and provide the entertainment. So people will be able to go to the Dickens Living Windows, the West Dundee tree lighting, be able to make the full loop down to the river, hang out at the VFW, and tie the whole event together.
I think that's an awesome idea.
Keep it small, keep it local, keep it, to the feel of Dickens, because like it says in the memo, the ball kind of bounced around from a couple different places. It was at VFW last, I believe, so, and they've welcomed us to have that event this year.
Is the band inside or out?
Band is inside.
Okay,
Not getting a tent for this one.
all right, well, I've seen outside.
I think between me and Thomas at this point, we might buy our own tent so we can just stop
Yeah.
renting it for things, so. We'll rent it to the village for cheap.
Have we ever done the band outside?
What?
No.
I didn't think so. Yeah, and then for many, many years, it was at VFW. I think once, maybe twice, it was at Brock House. A couple years at, I guess,
It was at Emmett's.
Emmett's had it for a number of years too, yeah.
But at that time, we provided food and it was Fezziwig's Feast, so I'm glad they changed it so people aren't expecting food.
Yeah.
Fezziwig's music and maybe a cookie is what we should call it.
Billy will have their fish fry.
Yeah. And it's good for their business to draw some traffic down there
Yeah.
for, you know, the business community too, just like the Living Windows is for, all the businesses on Main Street.
And local band, so.
Local band, local product.
Okay, trustee Wilburton, you have the floor.
With that, I move to approve a sponsorship of $750 to be made to a member of Controlled Burn, to play at the VFW on December 5th, 2025.
Motion.
Second.
And a second by trustee Price. Any additional discussion or comment? Hearing none, Madam Clerk.
Trustee Wilburn.
Aye.
Trustee Price.
Aye.
Trustee Huska.
Aye.
Trustee Johnson.
Aye.
Trustee Janice.
Aye.
Trustee Andrew.
Aye.
All ayes, motion carries. I would now entertain a motion to